Hi, I'm Michael Josh, and this is TechRap. It's a big week for tech news. Apple announces a slew of new products, including a razor-thin, super sleek iMac. But the star of the show is the new iPad mini. The 7.9-inch iPad is everything rumors said it's going to be. But things went a bit down south when you found out it does not come with a Retina display, but comes with a hefty price tag. The new iPad starts at $329 and ships on November 2nd in 34 countries, not including the Philippines. Microsoft officially joins the tablet race with the release of Surface. Aside from the Xbox, the Surface is the only other hardware product that Microsoft, a software company, builds internally. Speaking of software, along with the Surface, Microsoft also unveils its new operating system, Windows 8, and its scaled-down cousin, Windows RT. The new ad for Surface looks edgy, and the new UI for Windows 8 is a step in the right direction. In the foreseeable future, touch is going to dominate operating systems. But the Surface leaves us confused. We don't know if it wants to be a tablet or a desktop, and it's not like it does well in both. While your good old desktop is a touch away, Surface running Windows RT won't support any of your old programs. It's a work in progress though, and it can only get better in time. And time is what you'll get. The Surface will not be available in the Philippines. Hopefully that changes in time as well. Windows 8, however, is worth checking out. It's available now starting at $39.99. Representatives from Samsung deny a Korea Times report that Apple has canceled their contract and will no longer be sourcing display panels for iPads and iPhones from them. Their story says the decision comes after the Korean company allegedly intentionally held back on deliveries of panels. Samsung says it never tried to cut the supply for LCD panels to Apple. A new report by DigiTimes reveals most of the LCD panels for the new iPad mini will come from Samsung display rival, LG. Samsung and Apple are currently involved in a bloody patent war. Could this be related at all? And how will it affect us, consumers? Every week we'll share with you a social media tip so that you can maximize the platform and be the best social media user you could possibly be. This first tip comes from the man behind the @MMDA Twitter account, Yves Gonzalez. Retweets are a great way to pass information along on the internet, but they can be quite confusing to new users as there are different ways to retweet. Old style, which copies the text of the original tweet, credits the source, and posts it as a new tweet. And the new official way, which basically reposts the original tweet on your timeline. Both have different functions and are still in use today. If your tweet gets retweeted old style, then knowing your Twitter safe number will come in handy. Here's the formula. Your Twitter safe number equals the number of characters in your username plus the number 6. 6 refers to the number of characters appended to your tweet. R, T, space, the @sign, colon, and another space. My Twitter username is Michael Josh, which is 11 characters long, so my Twitter safe number is 17. When possible, keep in mind your Twitter safe number and leave that many characters left over when you tweet. This ensures that if someone retweets you the old-style way, nothing gets truncated in the process. Happy tweeting! Keep your Twitter safe number in mind the next time you tweet. Everyone with a smartphone has probably heard of the Angry Birds, whose campaign to take down bad piggies and take back stolen eggs has become the plot for one of the most popular games in recent years. After being on the receiving end of bird attacks, it's time for the bad piggies to take the spotlight and star in their own game, don't you think? The self-titled sequel to Angry Birds is my app of the week. 99 cents on iOS and free on Android, Bad Piggies is both engaging and entertaining. The goal of the game is quite simple. You build a cart to take your pig from point A to point B. As you advance, you get more materials, but the path becomes harder. It's no Fruit Ninja, the kind of game where you can slash away and not do any heavy thinking. But it's definitely one that will sharpen the mind and is a great app to escape for a quick break. If you're like me, the first few levels will take some getting used to, but once you get the hang of it, I promise, hours and hours of fun. Released just over a week ago, the Galaxy Note 2 is the latest in a line of Android smartphones from Samsung. It's thinner, faster, and significantly better than its predecessor, the Galaxy Note 1. Specs are pretty much standard compared to other smartphones in the market, but what makes it stand out is its size. It's right smack in the middle of smartphones like the iPhone and tablets like the iPad. Measured diagonally from top to bottom, the Galaxy Note 2 measures 5.5 inches. That's larger than the screen of the iPhone 4S, which is 3.5 inches, and the iPhone 5, which is 4 inches, and smaller, almost half the size of the iPad, which is 9.7 inches. Because it's uniquely both a phone and a tablet, some call this device a phablet. Which can be good and bad. Here are the most popular concerns. 1. Will it look weird if you hold up an oversized phone to your ear? If you ask me, that's debatable, even if you don't have a big head like mine, although that's debatable as well. 2. Will it fit in your pocket? It did in mine, although I can imagine quite a struggle fitting into pockets on a pair of skinny jeans. 3. Since it's much wider than your usual smartphone, what about one-handed use? Personally, this is a big negative against the phone. Even with a setting called one-handed operation that shrinks your keyboard down to size, the device really isn't meant to be used for one-handed typing. 4. Is there a benefit to a larger screen? Definitely. The larger screen is actually a more comfortable size for reading books, watching videos, and reading articles off the internet. But because it's not as big as other tablets, it's still light enough to hold for an extended period of time. At the end of the day, whether or not size is a pro or con will boil down to your preferences as a user. For me, it's a great selling point. The Samsung Galaxy Note 2 does a great job merging both worlds. It works great as a phone, but also gives me what I need most in a tablet, a larger screen for reading. Another tablet feature that scores well for the Note 2 is its retractable S Pen, which is great for annotating images, taking notes, or doing simple sketches. One last pro worth noting is the Note 2's camera. Just like the iPhone 4S and 5 and the Galaxy S3, the Note 2 has an 8-megapixel camera that produces really great shots. I like the flexibility of adjusting camera settings like exposure and ISO. Overall, it's one of the best cameras in a phone out there, but the camera on the iPhone 5 is still the one to beat. The Note 2 is the first Samsung Android phone to run on the latest Android operating system, Jelly Bean. Jelly Bean's new CPU enhancements enable smooth scrolling and transitions like page flips. Samsung did a great job in customizing this OS. Software-wise, it's pretty good. Not the easiest OS to learn, but very user-friendly nonetheless. On the hardware side, if I were to nitpick one design flaw, it would be button placement. I tend to rest the sides of my palm on the bottom left or right corners, which is where the menu and back buttons are located, so those get unintentionally pressed from time to time, although I know that's pretty standard on Android phones. Holding the phone on its side will meanwhile trigger the volume up and down buttons on the left and/or the sleep button on the right. As a result, my device almost always ends up on mute. That aside, overall, the Samsung Galaxy Note 2 is a great phone and a great tablet. I'm pretty sure the phone is also good enough to lure some Apple fanboys into the fold. The Android OS definitely has some pluses, and the Note 2 presents a unique proposition to those wanting to experience the best of both worlds. And that was TechRap. Thanks for dropping by.